So much for the silver slam that we usually see on a Friday. Silver is up dramatically today, and I believe it is due to 2 points of the chaos that we're starting to see in the silver market. Could that mean some big changes ahead? Well, I'll let you decide that. I'm just going to give you some information here, and we'll digest it together as we explore. An exciting day for the silver market indeed. In fact, the metals complex is up everywhere, with gold breaking yet new record highs again today. It got up as high as $3,246.80, with just over $50 away from $3,300 gold. Silver is starting to outshine. In fact, it is the best performing metal of the day, save for rhodium, which is up $175. But silver is up 3.35% right now, up $1.05 to $32.32. Now, that may not excite some of you that say, well, we were at $34 not too long ago, and you're right, but after a pretty big smackdown in the price for a while, because of the shock in the markets based off of tariffs, to see this recovery happen is good news. And there's 2 reasons why we should be looking at this even closer, because in a sense now there's a little bit of uneasiness happening in the silver market. Some can make the argument that there's a little bit of chaos going on as well too. And I'm going to get into some of that in a future video, but first let's talk a little bit about what's happening on a technical level here. As we see the prices move higher, FX Empire is saying that there's been a boost in both technical strength and broader safe haven demand, especially after we see gold surge well above $3,200 an ounce. Silver is following suit, testing key retracement levels that may open the door to further gains, just on a pure technical sense. Now, that's not one of the 2 things I'm going to be talking about that is really kind of what I think is bullish for silver as we move ahead. Trader focus remains locked on price action around major support and resistance areas. Yes, indeed. And some of those areas are testing the lower boundary of its short-term retracement zone from $34.59 all the way down to $28.31. That's a 50% retracement that sits around $31.45, which we're above that now. Break above $31.45 is this bullish signal, so we're in that territory now. And I tell you what, especially when we look back now towards the 200-day moving average of $30.92, it's immediate support in that area. And I tell you, when we think about support and moving downwards, any kind of downward movement momentum right now, I think is a good buying opportunity. As I mentioned before, if you would have taken my advice to buy when that dip came, you're sitting pretty right now. However, it's advice that's very cautiously given because you never know what's going to happen in the market. But in the end, dollar cost averaging pans out. My friends at summitmetals.com, by the way, provide great prices for your silver products. So anytime you need silver, check them out. At least give them a look-see to see what their prices are, to see if they compete for the product that you're looking for. And by the way, the Salivate Metal Round is back over at Summit Metals. So I'll post a link to it down in the description below, as well as a general link to Summit Metals. But summitmetals.com now carries the Salivate Metal 2-ounce round. So yes, so the momentum of gold moving to record highs is carrying silver along with it, but silver's outperforming it today. No question about that. And we also see other risks that are also going to play a role. Silver's industrial demand side is facing uncertainty as the U.S.-China trade conflict escalates. The U.S. slapped 145% tariffs on Chinese imports, and Beijing responded with 125% tariffs on U.S. goods. China is a top importer of silver for industrial use, so traders are closely watching for any fallout that could hit physical demand in the months ahead, and that may not be good for silver's price. notwithstanding and understand having a confidence, a little bit of an insight on that level, there are two things that are occurring. Number one is the short positions are increasing dramatically. I'm going to go more in depth on that in a video coming tomorrow. You're going to want to stay tuned for that. That is something that is a pretty big deal. But the other thing that is happening is something called backwardation. And that is happening at a greater level right now in the silver market. By the way, it's also happening in the platinum market too. We're going into steeper backwardation. And what that means is that future prices are now lower than spot prices, which signals strong demand for physical metal, as buyers are willing to pay more for immediate delivery rather than for futures contracts. Folks, this is a silver stacker's dream because it's all about the physical. I'm going to sing you a little song. Let's get physical, physical. I want to get silver in the physical. Let me hear the price talk. Oh, yeah. And that's exactly what's happening with silver's reacting in terms of its price. That's right. That's what it's about. Now, of course, we know the dollar loses value at a rate of about 2.4% now every year. That's still inflation, but it is going down better than expected. But silver's price is going up. And, what's behind this? Well, it is a weaker dollar as well, too. But people are wanting to get it in the physical form. And especially with the short positions and the like, in a sense, it's putting on its own natural silver squeeze, in a sense, which is kind of remarkable to think about. It's amazing. So silver indeed is acting like a precious metal today. Yes, who would have thought silver would perform like a precious metal? Even though it's an industrial metal, that's how it's seen mostly by the market. Well, not today. That's right, folks, not today. And so it is amazing to see as the markets are also recovering. The Dow Jones Industrial is up, the NASDAQ is up, and the S&P 500 is up, but the dollar index is indeed down. In fact, it is now down below a critical point now, folks. The dollar weakening now to below 100. That's right. And that is something. The dollar is now sitting right at 99.87. That's the U.S. dollar index, down 0.65% today. But the dollar is getting hammered compared to other currencies out there. Remember, folks, silver is already at record highs in other currencies around the world. It's just the dollar's unusual strength here that we're seeing is playing a role in seeing the price kind of stay, stagnant here for a while. I mean, in grand scheme, silver's not been stagnant over the past 18 months, but nonetheless, in comparison to its all-time highs, it has a lot more room to move. Now, silver prices, the spot silver price is dropping. Backwardation could reflect market volatility or potential bottoming out as physical demand rises. But of course, all of that can be offset by the tariffs and the demand, especially from China, as they have been importing a lot of silver. We talked about that. Of course, less products being moved from China to the United States because of this tariff war is definitely something that could have an impact negatively on silver's price. But I think right now, the markets and the traders are not seeing that, or they're reacting in a different way, trying to get more physical. And keep in mind that some of that can be offset within the next year, maybe 2 years, with domestic more demand for products, goods, and services that require silver here in the United States, and other countries around the world can pick up the slack. And by the way, China trades with other nations around the world too, which means that will require silver for a lot of the goods that have it. So keep that in mind too. So it may not have as negative an impact on the demand for silver that you would think. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But nonetheless, that is where the market sits right now. And physical buyers are absorbing the selling pressure in futures markets. and that it could indicate this supply squeeze that we talked about, sort of a natural supply squeeze, not something that's been really, targeted or orchestrated by any given individual or entity. That's the way the natural market forces work, a squeeze. So in a sense, this could essentially bring on the silver squeeze 2.0, and they're calling it, but this is where it really happens, not from the orchestrated buying efforts that we saw before. So what an amazing thing. You never know. But the market is sort of in this chaotic moment, especially with the spike in short positions and the spike in backwardation that we're seeing right now. It's all a matter of how the market plays. But nonetheless, what I like to do on this channel is bring you the latest news in the world of precious metals. If you enjoy what I do here, I hope you would consider subscribing to the channel. My goal is to try to get 100,000 subscribers by the end of this calendar year. And with that being said, I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.